Tom wants to work for the United States government. The job Tom wants requires extensive training, though, and the only way the government is paying for any of that is if Tom happens to fit into a certain set of criteria, being the right combination of gender, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status. For example, if his parents made enough money to potentially pay the tens of thousands of dollars it will take for Tom to receive his training, he's on his own to pay for it himself, because it's just assumed that his parents can and will just give all that money towards Tom's education. After roughly 4 years of living off student loans and whatever money he can make while studying for his job training, Tom needs to go through an internship before becoming certified. That internship requires him to do his job for several months without pay. Not only that, but Tom has to keep paying tuition fees so that he has the privilege to work as a full-time intern. After completing his training program, which he paid for, taking the appropriate tests, each of which he paid for, and passing CPR and first aid training, which he paid for, Tom can finally pay for his certification in his job of choice, and once he gets it, he can apply for that government job that he aspired to 4.5 years ago at the least. If Tom gets a job in a wealthy area, he'll be lucky to start out making $35,000 to $40,000 per year, which he can use to chip away at the potentially over $100,000 of debt. If Tom gets sick, hopefully he gets a good job and pays into good health insurance program through it. Bravo, Tom. If you live modestly, by the time you're 29 or 30, you'll probably have broken even from the career choice you made as a teenager. Bill wants to work for the United States government. The job Bill wants requires extensive training too. Fortunately, the government values Bill's job enough to pay for his training. Not only that, but once Bill signs up for the program, he gets put on government payroll. While receiving his basic training, his food and lodging are provided in addition to being paid for going through the training, rather than having to pay to receive that training. In this government program, Bill and his immediate family enjoy the benefits of universal health care. Bill may have to leave his family for several months at a time in his line of work, and there's no guarantee that he'll return. If Bill chooses to leave the program, the government will pay for his education in another field to thank him for his trouble, provided he spent enough time in that job as agreed to when he began. Tom and Bill both took government jobs that require extensive and expensive training. Why did Tom's choice net him a canyon of debt to crawl out of, and Bill's choice got him cash training and medical coverage? It's because Tom wanted to be a teacher. He wanted to mold young minds and guide the paths of America's future. He wanted to work with kids, to make an honest living, and come home knowing he did the best he could, even if it meant he wasn't going to make a ton of money. Bill wanted to be a soldier, a trained killer who knows how to handle weaponry and follow orders to a T. Bill wanted to do what he thought was serving his country and supporting his family, even if he did have to leave them for months at a time to commit and witness acts that would take him a lifetime to try to forget. He was convinced that post-traumatic stress was one of those things that happens to other people. It would never happen to him. Bill was 17 years old when a recruiter came into his life to sell him the world if he'd just sign on that line. Of course, there was no recruiter to convince Tom what a fantastic career choice teaching would be and how all of his problems would melt away if he'd join America's fine corps of highly trained educators. Bill's recruiter had a million tricks, phrases, and techniques for snaring his quarry, but when the bullets started flying and bombs exploded overseas, Bill's recruiter was fast asleep in his king-size bed in his American home. Some of our best and brightest young minds are recruited to become the homes of bullets and shrapnel, while those stubborn, noble, and or foolish enough take lives of debt and meager pay to work for and with our youth. Both are tragic realities, and both cry out for change. A change of mind, a change of heart, a change of priorities.